on today's Minute of the Apes, it's very nice to see a large crowd of people all wearing masks, unlike the rest of America.
Exercise with an ape maker, human down. It talks. With a divine bound. We are determined to know what the apes want, war or peace.
They are the good humans, it's a dead human.
And if it is man's destiny one day to be dominated, then, oh, please, God, let him be dominated by such as you.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. That was Richard. Sean, is that you looking like a Jedi trooper there with your hood up and your beard kind of hanging out?
I guess a beard doesn't count as a mask, does it?
So where did you see this, Richard?
He's talking about
these
minutes. The movie.
The minutes. I mean, they're all ape masks, but they're all wearing masks. What was the last time we saw a large gathering of Americans with the majority of them wearing masks? Practically never.
I think the reason I immediately thought that was that I just read that Iowa's having an issue where they said if you go to the grocery store, no one wears masks. That they're having a huge issue with it. And the funny thing is here, wow, whatever that was, Sean, that was super loud.
That was it was circling around.
Sorry.
I go to the grocery store here, and everybody in my little suburb north of Dallas is all wearing masks. So when you said that, I was like, "Uh-oh, where are we? We're seeing this." And was it an anomaly? But I wasn't. I wasn't in the Apes discussion yet.
It's like watching a Joe Biden rally. Everybody's wearing masks.
In Dallas County, where you're supposed to wear masks in businesses, right? It's a
Same
requirement.
here.
But I have customers that come in that live just outside of the county that talk about the fact that they walk into stores and nobody's wearing masks, and it upsets them. The
last time,
rightfully so.
So Collin County, Northern County, from Dallas and whatnot. The last time that I saw somebody walk into like Kroger's without a mask on was easily 3 months ago, and that I say that poor woman, she brought it on herself. She must have been glared at 5,000 times and spoken to at least 12 by people like, "Put your mask on."
I'm surprised they let her in.
I was too, and I think that's a huge part of it now is that people understand you're not going to get in anymore. But back to poke fun at myself, I was not ready to think of the masks within the movie. So I get the Airhead Award of the day. Let's talk about Minute 82. Sean, what's going on with Minute 82?
All right, as on Minute 82, again, we're doing the extended version. We start at Minute 82 with the governor still being dragged in chains and ends with bodies being stacked in front of the governor.
All right, let's take a listen to Minute 82 of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
As of Minute 82, we've got a courtyard's worth of gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, imported apes, Caesar. We got dead apes in ape control. We got dead apes in the street. We got dead humans all over the place. And I still don't think we're going to find Armando alive. I mean, there could be that after credit scene, but who knows?
I mean, the whole point of this season minute is to see Breck basically dragged outside, right? I mean, that's
Yep.
It's really about bringing Breck outside to know that there's stuff going on. we begin to see
the actual carnage that's happened, to actually see the bodies being stacked in front of him, the results of his actions. Yeah.
And we compared what I saw to what Sean had, Todd, just a little bit ago, and there's a couple of bloody moments that were not in my scene. There was just a quick glimpse.
A person with a whole bunch of blood on their face was
just two glimpses of blood on faces that weren't really in mine, but the rest of it played itself out. I thought it was a little odd that Breck is traveling right screen to left screen at the beginning of the minute, and then midway through, suddenly he's turned reverse, still traveling the same direction, but his head's flipped. And I thought that was an odd choice.
So I found a movie focused website called movie-censorship.com where they break down when movies get edited and whatnot, and it really helps breaking down to the point, as far as how many seconds are taken out of this. Let's also talk about, again, why this happened. They had a screening where they expected a G rating at that time. There was no such thing as PG. PG did not come into existence until the following year.
Oh, okay. I bet really? Maybe not PG-13, but
no.
They had R, they had G and R, and that was it.
From the ratings used from 1970 to 272 were G for general audiences, GP, which meant parental guidance, R and X. The change occurred in 72 and was used until 84 when they brought in PG-13. That would have been G, PG, R, and X. But they thought that they had general audiences. They had this screening and had parents walk out. They were aghast. And this begins where they start really tweaking this film to get that next rating, which were exactly that, Richard. There are only a couple shots here that are pulled away for your theatrical cut.
Yeah, the blood was a little intense too. Like it's that bright red, almost paint looking.
Yeah,
but it's still a shocking color to see, particularly in scenes that are lit so dark. Suddenly have that bright red blood. Oh, that's a lot of blood. If it were darker blood, it wouldn't stand out as much.
You talk about people walking out of the screening. Back when you could actually go to movie theaters, I saw a screening. It was before it came out. It was one of the Transformers. I can't even remember which one it was. But it's one where they eventually end up in Egypt or something like that. And there's a scene in it where a Transformer has changed, and he had some wrecking balls at some point, and the balls actually ended up being his balls, and can hear them banging together. In a free movie for Transformers, I saw parents pick up their kids and walk out of the movie at that point.
Well, yeah, I never really did a whole lot of, hey, Abby, shield yourself. I would have, I usually with my kid would be like, okay, that's really guttural humor, blah, blah, blah. And I would try to teach her, but I don't fault any parent if they're in there and they think, I don't want my child to see this kind of garbage. I would not want my child to see that kind of garbage, period.
It's a Transformers movie, period, yeah.
But I get, especially during this time, why parents would feel the need to get their kid and walk out, because they were seeing enough of this on the nightly news.
Super violent, yeah.
And
especially
it was
for the time, yeah.
Right, and it was terrifying. Then this is very shockingly bloody. To Richard's point, the choice of the incredibly vibrant red instead of a more muted brownish red, it is shocking. That one shot of the soldier with all the blood on his face, I even thought, Yeah. And if I can step back too, Richard, I actually think the thing where you talk about Breck's screen directions, I watched that too, and I noticed that too. I almost wonder if they didn't flip the negative on that one just to kind of have chaotic movement.
Maybe that's what it was, because he went his head was facing one direction, and then like for a clip he's suddenly facing the other direction.
Right. And
I thought it was just they were trying to show the shuffle and the movement of things as they go along, but it was a little just kind of, whoa, okay, we flipped around.
And I think that's exactly what they were trying to do, is just how do we make this seem even more chaotic? We're going to flip the screen direction just for that.
And again, we have no chimpanzees participating in this. We haven't seen them. Orangutans. We haven't seen them anywhere. And more surprisingly, I'm surprised we don't see citizens like poking their heads out going, what's going on out there? Is the news actually covering this? Do they know what's going on? Are there some people that the apes actually like? And, you would see some people being dragged off, and maybe an ape protects a human that, was going to be dragged off, but they're saying, no, this is one of the good ones and stuff like that. But no human, we just see dead guards and apes and no other humans.
Well,
I mean, we do get McDonald back in the scene, right?
Yeah, we start to see him back in there, really featured.
But I want to see the man on the street, what their reaction is to this. Do they have apes in their house going crazy, or stuff like that?
Well, you talk many times in movies about if you look at the construction of it, you'll have an overreaching story, but you'll almost have like little mini movies within a movie where it tells a little vignette of a idea. To your point, Sean, I miss that too, because this becomes very, very straightforward storytelling. Throw a body, him here, them all, and it's just like I could use a little more opening up to it.
In the actual Civil War, that happened in America, there were times that people were putting blankets out and having picnics, watching them fight in the distance.
Right.
I mean, you would think some humans would be sticking their heads out, maybe taking a picture, recording it somehow, calling other people. I'd like to know what the average citizen is up to at this point.
Well, but we haven't done enough with them in general. We only see them.
We saw them at the beginning.
We see them in daylight hours.
And we saw them right before the revolution.
Right before the revolution, they were ushered home.
Well,
I mean, Dane had scenes that were supposed to take place in people's homes that never did.
To that point,
I think it lacks because of that. Yeah.
Well, this is the first time I started going, "Where's Culp? What happened to Culp?"
He's gone too. He's really gone.
We whether we see him escaping or hiding or something, I think that would have been rather meaningful. He's been enough of a character; he needs to be here.
You see him strapped to a table, and the apes are kind of beating on the machinery because they don't understand it. And every now and then it's hitting him, and then somebody breaks off one of the switches, and it just overloads, and you see him starting to smoke and light up. And
right.
If we're putting a situation where Caesar gave Breck some type of mercy to drag him out, to have him drag out to the square for some type of public display or whatever is about to happen, Culp would have been the perfect person to actually see die prior to this.
Yeah.
To see the level of violence that is happening, that occurring, that they're, he to me would have been the perfect, or the going forward, he'd be the one maybe if we were going to not do something with Breck, we would have something happen as a result. Culp would be the perfect villain to see die.
Yeah.
Again, so he could also be the perfect person to see cowering on the side that somehow gets away. You've seen that in movies too, where that one kind of culpable person is observing the moment and finds a way to get away. Anything that just opens this up, that this is not just this moment on these stairs.
Not just the control room people and guards being beat up.
Right.
I want to see what else is going on.
Do you want me to read you what Dane had in the script?
Yes, please.
No.
So after the go, we have a public square, ape-occupied shopping center, right, which is kind of where we're at. You see them dragging them up in the area. Breck shackled hand and foot, strung up from a street light like a carcass from a butcher's meat hook, is being flogged by an ape. Around them, bedlam. The streets and walkways are littered with the dead bodies of apes and humans. Still struggling police and militiamen, their arms and legs bound, are being dragged by apes to the Central Assembly area, where other truncheon-carried apes beat them mercilessly. Every visible human is either dead or captive. The shattered pet memorial is visible. The shattered pet memorial is visible. So so it's not too far off. They didn't string up Breck,
governor, yeah.
But everything else is kind of the same. We don't see the pet memorial.
We don't see the pet thing, yeah.
There is the next note, gazing down from a parapet that overlooks the orgy of violence in the square. Below, the steady crack of it can be heard. McDonald, hands manacled, stands next to Caesar. So this is what I kind of want to bring up here. We saw Caesar have the apes stop kind of harassing McDonald in the command center. Then when Caesar and Breck are having their back and forth, we see McDonald behind him, not reacting, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, whenever Caesar was about to hit him with a gun.
Right.
Yeah, and
then
he's standing there.
He's just standing behind him, right?
Yep.
I didn't notice any chains on him per se at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
We then jumped to Breck being dragged outside, him now in chains. We didn't see the chain part happen; it just kind of happened magically. Breck's in chains. Yeah. We see the bodies being piled, and then all of a sudden, McDonald is standing.
Just one shot of him, yeah.
Unconnected to anything happening around. And I was very
black void. Yeah.
Yeah. I was very confused by the fact, is he in a different room? Is he somewhere else? What's going on? You don't see any lights behind him. It's just his head. And he appears to be overseeing something going on, but because he's not connected to anything in this moment,